Jersey Joe and I am back with you once again for another holiday episode of the Brew Live. You've got us right here, and you know what? We love to talk about basically anything you talk about in the bar. You never know what subject it'll be. Well, right now we're going to talk about toys. We put this question out on social media, and you guys had a lot to say about it. What's your favorite toy when you were growing up? What's one thing that you would think the kids would love to have now, or a toy you'd love to play with that you used to play with in the past? We have a lot of your great answers coming up. Joel and I are going to share ours in just a minute. But Joel, first off, when you were a little kid, did you play with toys?
Hot Wheels. They you could put the tracks together and you could make like little cities with them.
Yes.
They had fucking streets with 2 lanes and some of them could turn. You could make skyscrapers and then you could also make like loops and shit. So when you went over your friend's house, they still knew what was up.
I love that answer because that's exactly my answer. Hot Wheels, Matchbox cars, and then eventually a little bit later, Micro Machines too, which were great. And the other thing I loved about them, not only could you take them to your friend's house, they came in all those little cities. You know what? Or like the Micro Machines had the toolbox you pulled out as a city playset, and you could drive those cars all over the place. That was so much fun. And then we take them out in the dirt too and ride them around. I mean, that was a great time. I love that. You know what? The funny thing is though, I used to play with those so much as a little kid. Now I'm the guy that once I became an adult, I no longer have a car. What's your favorite toys right now? They're going to stack of answers to go to, so let's get to a few of yours right now because Missy Crawford writes in and says she used to play with a bag of broken glass. I believe she's also trying to double down on her stock in the Johnson & Johnson Band-Aid Corporation. That's one thing I used to do too as a kid. I used to tear up my hands real bad. We used to play in the woods a lot and like make cabins and stuff, but I grew up in the country. You grew up in the city though, however, right? You were in suburbia, right?
Yeah, I'm definitely more city, but no, a bag of glass is fun. You know what, kids, if you ever get a bag of glass, it's the best thing ever. Kick that shit around, catch it, try and toss it to your friends, and then whatever's left, try and swallow.
Let's put every legal disclaimer on the bottom of the screen right now. Kids, do not try this at home. The Brew is not responsible for any drinks that come to you and your family. That's a result of
Try it at
questions.
home. It's fun.
Yeah, that's right. All right, let's go into a couple more of your guys' answers right now because Art writes in and says M80s. Oh, there you go. Playing with the fireworks as a kid. We're 2 for 2 in the great idea category right now.
Yeah.
All right, we got a bunch of serious answers too right now, so let's get to a few of yours right now because Heather writes in and says the big Tonka dump truck because it doubled as a toy and a ride. Ooh, that's one thing though. When I was a little kid, did you have one of these, the big wheel? You could take those things, ride it down the sidewalk. It's like a 4-wheeler for kids, and then as you grow up, then you go to a bicycle, and then eventually when you get older, it's a car. But did you ever have the big wheel? I used to love that thing.
Not really. We had the little Jeep things you could sit in.
Yeah.
It was like 4 wheels, and if you were 2 years old, it was like the perfect size to like sit a child. Right. That's about it.
And then once you become 4 years old, you're still riding the thing, you're too fat, but the battery's like, it's like trying to get down the street for dear life. One of the other things, did you have a bike growing up? Because that was one thing, like I grew up in the country. I know. You had to have that to like get to your friend's house because they lived so far away, but you had a bike as a kid, right?
Yeah. You take a bike anywhere. It's like having a car. It's like you have a little bit of the perks of having a car and a little bit of the perks of walking.
Yeah, it's almost like a training step, giving kids like, between like big wheels, you get a bike and then a car. It's like almost teaches you like the rules of the road and things like that. So a bicycle is a good gift for kids. People still ride them around here in the city and they get stolen all the time. Maybe you could chain them up, people still cut them off anyhow. So a lot of people, even as adults.
Well, you got to hook up explosives to your bicycle.
Yeah, or like those M80s that Art chimed in on. Maybe you unstrap the thing and poof, oh, no fingers. And then you go back to Missy's Band-Aids and look, it all ties in together. Okay, let's go to more of your comments right now because Craig writes in and he says, the animal, without a doubt, big monster truck with retractable claws. What else do you need? An 80s battery-powered writes in, Stompers, of course. Those are two little cars that kind of relate together because they're little battery-operated things. They put like 2 AA batteries on them. Then you just kind of turn them on and they would just ride over like rocks and twigs or down the street or whatever. The animal one had the little claws that come out. And supposedly on TV they showed it like going up hills. But as you know, Joel, working in television, they show things on TV. The toys don't necessarily work as well as they do in the commercials.
I'm sure, especially back then, they didn't, despite all the 40 and older boners going on right now. Cool.
I know. Well, wait, it's getting even crazier here because a bunch of sci-fi answers right now because Steve writes in and says, Millennium Falcon. Oh, that's a toy playset from Star Wars. Then Ophir writes in and he says, Vehicle Team Voltron and sends a picture. That indeed is an 80s cartoon. And Dave writes in, all right, this one gets a little crazy. Mine has to be the Space 1999 Eagle I received for Christmas. And oh, he has pics of that too from the day he's got to show that there. And oh, wait, and he follows up with, and I still have it today, though with new detailing and paint job. Never outgrow the things you love. I guess that's a question for you. I mean, how old is too old to stop playing with toys? What do you think on that one?
At the age you expect to start getting pussy.
There you go. Which would be about, what, 10, 11 years old? No, I'm kidding. At least, like your teenage
It's
years.
different for everybody. But once you look down and you're like, I really like to stuff this inside some box. That's the age. That's the age.
And you know what? I guess at one point everybody crosses that age at a different point in time. Some are late bloomers, some are. But hey, you know what? Just like I said, it's bar talk. This is definitely a conversation you hear in a bar. But Joel Nolfi writes in. Okay, this one's crazy. It's a Johnny7OMA, one-man army. He got it for his 5th birthday. He loved that thing. And he sent a link to a YouTube commercial, which I don't think we can show. But basically, it is a toy machine gun that breaks apart into 7 other different guns and shows kids how to basically be a one-man army and shoot assault rifles. What do you think about, like, if they would air toy gun commercials today? I think people would lose their minds if we did that now.
I think they should just do it. It gets them ready for when they're 18 and they're ready to shoot up a school.
That's the difference between then and now. Like before, you could show like classic Nerf guns, and I'm sure Joe. This commercial was from the 50s and 60s that he was really referencing. Back then, toy guns are made out of actual metal. So if you walked around with one of those today, I mean, you could have a cop probably fire back at you, not knowing that it's a toy gun.
You know what, kids? Whoever's watching the show, try that. Try what Joe just said.
Oh, yeah. 2 problems. Number 1, I'm sure kids aren't watching this show. And number 2, though, you can't really get actual metal guns anymore unless you go to like some hobby store or some flea market. And, kids don't have the money to do that right now. So, but we don't suggest that you really try it. But we do suggest you chime in with a couple of your comments. We got a few more right now because Landon writes in and he says, remember the Jordan Jammer. Oh, that's a little basketball hoop for kids. Rafa Guitar writes in and says, a baseball. And then Craig writes in with a heartwarming story. One year, my dad got me a sweet baseball glove made with high-end leather. Then he taught me how to take care of the leather and the glove. Played with that glove for years. Now, I know, and I've seen videos, that I know that you actually were awesome, and you had all kinds of like bats and balls when you were a kid. But Craig is actually right, though. You have a leather glove and can fit your hand. You wear that in for years. That is a great toy and make a great Christmas present for kids.
So, any kids who are watching this right now, Tide Pods, just keep eating that.
You can definitely like see the age difference between these answers in this one, and then like just the way life has changed today. And you're like you brought up Tide Pods. Like,
You're gonna have to edit out like all of my answers.
No, they're staying in. But Tide Pods, like we live in a day and age now where we got to worry about kids having Tide Pods. We're like, I'm not that old, but we used to go outside and play and like for hours and disappear, and like nobody cared in the woods and things like that. It's definitely a different world, I guess, is what I'm saying.
Actually, no, I think kids should play in the woods more.
There's so many different meanings of this right now compared to the way it used to be.
I don't know. I can only make so many jokes about this for one show.
It's all good. We got one more viewer comment. Kristen writes in, and she says, Barbie's Dream House. Not the shitty, cheap, plasticky one they make now. I'm talking the solid plastic one from the late 80s. Oh, look, and she sends a picture of the ad saying, this may well have been me in the ad. Well, I never played house when I was a kid and never had a Barbie house. Good thing, but my goodness, this thing is giant in the picture. I know as in daycare, I remember they had like a little house set up for kids and stuff.
Barbie's Dream House teaches kids a really, really important lesson.
What's that?
That if you look like Barbie, you can get anything you want, even before you find a rich-ass Ken. And if you're a rich-ass Ken, you can have anything from Barbie down at any time.
My goodness, the stereotypes, like, from meaning of things from then until now. Just by these answers, you can really tell how the world has changed, even in toys.
Hey, these are just facts.
That they are. All right, I'm going to ask you this question, though. Are you sad, like, toy stores are closing, like Toys R Us, KB, Circle, we had all those, but
It sucks that Jeffrey the giraffe from Toys R Us was sad. When I was a kid, I would walk to Toys R Us, and that would be cool, but at the same time, like, it's a digital age. I can't believe they still sell CDs.
Mm-hmm.
There's newspaper that's still being sold. People watching this in 5 years are going to be like, no way. But yeah, let's move on. Radio Shack, Tombstone set, let it go. Let go of all that old shit. Let go of all the shit that's even in between.
It is like the difference too, like even at Christmas time. I remember being a little kid, like two things you would see: a lot of toy commercials, which I guess they're still kind of around toy commercials. But then we would always get the big, thick, fat Christmas catalogs delivered from Sears and J.C. Penney's. And I would sit there, go through there. My mom would be like, "Oh, mark off what you want," and I would check off what I would want. And Santa would never bring it because we had no money. But, it was always like getting excited for that. And then even as a little kid, like I'd be excited up all night. Oh, what's Santa going to bring me tomorrow? Oh, it's going to be exciting. And then, it's now like kids really can't do that unless you put them on Amazon.com, let them point and click. And then, maybe they'll charge up some happy to mommy and daddy's charge card.
Yeah, let's do that. Have the kids just check out what they want online. Give them like $50 each or whatever it's different for every family.
But hey, speaking of technology, one thing you want to do is make sure you click that like or subscribe button down below so you can see more episodes of this web show and Kicking Back Jersey Joe. And next week, 2 episodes. We get double the Christmas fun. On Monday, Alexa and I, we go caroling. It doesn't work out as well as you think. And then on Thursday, we got another great one. I got a Christmas quiz game show. Think you know Christmas? Find out we make an online game out of it. It's a Christmas quiz. 2 fun shows, Monday and Thursday next week on Kicking Back with Jersey Joe. And I heard you over there, Joel, I know, but even technology, we're talking about, I shouldn't say her name because it's going to start going off here in a second, but you know what? I can have her buy toys and stuff online. The little Alexa.
Alexa, order 400 beers.
No, here we go. All right. Well, anyhow, thank you for our live viewers. Thank you for your great comments. Jersey Joe, I am here. Have a happy holiday, and we'll see you next time.